Adar Sheni, Shir Klali, Parsha Shmini, Rabbi Gafni, Shir Klali.
This is also Parsha Porah.
Parsha Porah.
So we're turning to this week's Parsha Shmini, chapter 10. Posik Kof Daled, and then we'll go into chapter Yud. So up to now the Parsha has told us all the happenings that occurred on the Yom HaShmini. There were 7 days of initiation at a Mishkan, as was brought down at the end of last week's Parsha Tzav. And then it's written at the beginning of this Parsha, Vayi Bayom HaShmini, then all sorts of special. And Rashi brings that it was a very remarkable day, and it was Zeicha, that particular day, had a tremendous merit of all sorts of amazing things that occurred on that day, Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Meaning that the Shiva Shemaya Amiluim, they were the last 7 days of Chodesh Adar, and the initiation and the final Hakoma of the sanctuary, the Mishkan, was on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. And therefore Rashi brings near the beginning of the Parsha that the whole 7 days of the Miluim, of the initiation, Moshe Rabbeinu used to put up the Mishkan, but he used to take it down again in the evening during the whole 7 days. And then on the 8th day, that was the day where these commandments were given to offer up all sorts of korbanos, special miyuchodes, to mark the settling in of the Mishkan into its full function from that Yom HaShmini and further. And we see that there were certain things that Aaron HaKohen was hesitant about. He didn't want to go to the Mizbeach during the whole Shiva Shemei Amiluim. Moshe Rabbeinu, he acted as Kohen, as well known. Rashi brought down last week's Parsha that Moshe did all the offering of the Korbanos. And on this day he offered certain of the Korbanos, but he began the initiation of Aaron into his function as Kohen Gadol. So we see that after everything occurred and after everything had been done, there still hadn't been a clear indication from the Eibishter that he was going to dwell in the Mishkan and that everything was acceptable to him. Therefore, Moshe and Aaron went in together into the Mishkan, as Rashi tells us, Barichas, in the previous portion, and they prayed to the Eibishter that everything should be acceptable and that the Eibush should indicate and show that he was Makabel, Verotzen, auguriously, Makabel, over the Avedis HaMishkan up to now, and it would be Mikano Lahaba, Amofim from Veshochanti, Beseichon, it would be the Gila, the Mishka, the Shechina, and the Gila Elakus in the Mishka. But it hadn't yet occurred, so therefore Moshe and Aaron, and Rashi brings the whole thing that they went in, according to one pshat, that Moshe wanted to teach him the Avedis HaKteres, with that stuff Kibufnim, and then brings Rashi the second pshat, that they were concerned and they prayed, and Aaron said to Moshe that he was disturbed by the fact that he had some connection with the Cheta Ego, albeit he meant good, as we know, we saw in Parsha Kisisa. But nonetheless, there were certain inyanim in the Cheta Ego that occurred al yedei Aaron. Therefore, Aaron was worried that maybe because of that there wouldn't be the Gilui Ashkina and the final acceptance at a Mishkan in front of the Eibishter. Therefore, he said to Moshe Rabbeinu, he's concerned that maybe that's what's preventing the Gilui Ashkina and holding up the whole world, as you might say. And then Moshe Rabbeinu, and he offered up prayers, and then it's brought down that finally the Eibishter made the indication that he was makabel over the initiation of the Mishkan, and that there would be the Kilui Ashchina and the Mokim for Kilui Alakus in the Mishkan. That's what we see in the Posik Kof Daled. Vateitzei Eish milifnei Hashem. There came out Eish from in front of the Eibishter. Vateichal ala Mizbeach Es ha'olah. That was the special olah that was offered by Aaron and his sons, and then there was the Chalovim and Shlomim. Vayar kol ha'om vayorenu vayiplu al pneihem. And all the people saw this, and they were full of joy, or they prayed, offered up special prayers of simcha and thanksgiving. Vayiplu al pneihem, and they fell down on their faces in hishtachavoy, or bittul gomer, to the Eibishter, that he'd given this amazing acceptance of the sanctuary. So we see that the going out of fire is a sign of the Eibishter having accepted and showing his acquiescence and his acceptance of the Avodah of the Eden Lamata in the sanctuary. So we see immediately behemshik to that in Pasik Aleph of chapter Yud, Vayichu b'nei Aaron Nodov Avihu Ish Machtosei. Each one took a thing that you carry keteros in it, like a container made to carry incense. Vayitin bohem eish, and they put fire into it. Vayasimu alech keteros, and they put keteros on the container that they picked up. Vayachrivu lifnei Hashem eish zoro, and they put foreign fire literally in front of the Eibishter, asher lo yitzivo oisom, but the Eibishter hadn't commanded them. Vateitzei eish, once again the same lashon that was used in the pasuk just a couple of pasukim back. Vateitzei eish milifnei Hashem, exactly the same expression. There went out fire from in front of the Eibishter. Vatoichal oisom, and this time, instead of the fire being a positive and tremendous revelation, it was a consuming fire which ate up the two sons of Aaron. It consumed them and had it burnt them in fire on the spot. Teichal oisom vayomusa lifnei Hashem, and they passed away lifnei Hashem, in the spot and in the inyan where the Eish came out in the lifnei Hashem, well, that's where they passed away, lifnei Hashem. And in the spot where they'd offered the korbanos, the offering of this incense or this keteros, what they meant that to be lifnei Hashem, in the same place, in the same inyan, then they died, passed away. Pretty shrekh l'chamas. And particularly immediately after the whole sign of the Eibishter's having received the Mishkan and showing his acceptance and his willing acceptance of the whole Indian, there was this amazingly what you might call contra movement, but the two great sons of Aaron consumed in fire a very short time afterwards inside the sanctuary itself. Vayema Moshe el Aaron. So Moshe turned to his brother and he said, that's what's happened here. Asher Dibur Hashem, that's what the Eibishter spoke to me. Leimer, saying, Bekroivai Akadesh, I'm going to be sanctified by my near ones, literally. V'al Pnei Chol Ha'om Ikoved, and in front of all the people I'm going to be honored. Vayidei Aaron, when Aaron heard that, then he went quiet. He didn't say anything. And Rashi brings down that he accepted the whole thing with shtika, how do you call it, with lack of saying anything, by yidoim from Lashon doime, like a stone, by yidoim arin. And Rashi brings that he got a great sachar from the Eibishter, that the Eibishter rewarded him for having taken this whole thing, bi'ahava, b'shtika, etc., etc. Rashi brings down the whole greatness of Aaron and having taken it b'shtika. However, ask yourself the shaila, what on earth happened to him? What was going on? What did the Bnei Aaron see to all of a sudden run into the Mishkan with machtos, with ketores, and with the whole Indian in front of the Eivishter? And then what did Moshe Rabbeinu mean by saying who? Or that what happened? Or that's what I already heard from the Eivishter. Kivu, almost to say that I knew it was going to happen. Moshe Rabbeinu says. I'm not surprised. No, on the contrary, that's almost like a thing that we have to expect would be when I get to the Mishkan. I said, well, we have to expect. I said this. I expected two great men get pass away, and they get burned like Rashi brings down, and it's brought in the great Sfarim and in Midrashi Chazal. Rashi brings later that fire went out from heaven, means that it went out into their nostrils, and their neshamas went up to the Eivishter, but their bodies remained the way they were. Not that they were burnt to ashes in front of Hashem, but their bodies remained. And therefore, it had to be a special directive on the part of Moshe Rabbeinu to take the bodies out at a Mishkan. So we see that it was some very high, tremendously spiritual Indian, that they went out a divine fire and it took down the shamas away from them. It drew out like some amazing divine magnet. It drew the shamas out, the fire. In other words, how do you say it? That min motza es minoi, that the fire found the fire. That their neshamas were even from fire and age, went up into the fire of the heaven, and there they were, left with their bodies lifeless in the Mishkan. So I thought the shaila, what sort of a simcha is that on the day that after the whole amazing 70 days Amiluim, and after all the Aveda, and after all the Tirach, what the Yidden spent ever since Moshe Rabbeinu came down from the mountain, the building the Mishkan, preparing with all the Yoram from B'Tzalel, Ben Uri, Ben Chor, and all the how do you call it, Chach Melei, with the whole beer was in Chassidus, what it means, Chach Melei, what it wants, Arichas, and then all of a sudden, boom, Dor Kazeh. So, Mitzad Ma, like it's written in the Megillah, Al Mazeh, because of what did this happen? So comes along Rashi. Rashi offers us an explanation. Vateiche Eish, in Pasuk Beis, Rabbi Eliezer Eimer. All of a sudden, Rashi starts off with Rabbi Eliezer. Loi Mesu B'nei Aaron, Ela al Yidei Shoheru Halacha Bifnei Moshe Rabbon. That the Bnei Aaron didn't die. Loi Mesu, meaning that it's like isn't it? It's like a form of a negation, that they didn't die only because they indicated or they decided halacha, they paskin the halacha in front of Moshe Rabbon, in front of Moshe Rabbeinu, when he was their Rab. That's why they passed away. Rabbi Shmuel comes again, Rabbi Shmuel, and he says, no, Shesuye Yayin nicht mesulam, that they were drunk with wine. They'd already drunk on wine, meaning that they hadn't just stomach a sip, with the kleinst full of chaim, but they drank they drank wine to the point that they were called Shisuya Yayin. And that's why it happened, because they went into the Mikdash Shisuya Yayin. So Shalom Aleichem, how does wine come over here? Was it with the Mo Yayin? So there was his Rashi, Teda, says Rabbi Shmuel, Rashi quoting him. So Rabbi Shmuel says, Teda, that's one on the lesson of the Gemara and the Medrash of when a Tana or an Amira says a certain opinion, and then he uses the word Teda, that's a way of showing what he considers to be a convincing raya. Teda, you see, you must know that that is the raya that I'm bringing, L'Dvorai. So what's the raya that he's bringing? Sha'oma, Sha'acha Misosan, that immediately after they passed away, he's here Hanishodim. Avish to warn the sons that were left over, in other words, Elazar and Yisama, they were the two that were left over. He immediately warned them, Shaloi Kansu Shesuya Yayin Lamidos. You must not go into the Mikdash having drunk wine, and that's what's written immediately after that in the pasuk Yayin v'Sheicha al Teish Atov v'Nechla Itopa v'Yachem Aleo Moed. A few pasukim further that you must not drink wine. A kohen is not allowed to drink wine before he goes into the avodah. Rashi brings over there. Rashi says that if he did the avodah when he was Shesuya Yayin, then the avodah is pasula. In other words, that even if he did the wine, then the fact that he drank the wine, that makes the avodah possible. So not just standard as a zahiras, no, that's a ayin which is nageya in the very etzem of the avodah. And that if he's Shesuya Yayin, then the whole avodah is possible. So it says Rabbi Yishmael, the fact that there was such a careful warning was given to the Bnei Aaron that remained over, well, that's a sign that was the problem. That ever immediately afterwards, the Abish to warn them, don't go in ever to the Mikdash when you are Shesuye Yayin. And therefore there's a whole thing, I feel and it brings down over there in the pasuk that you have to, in order to be able to instruct, but that was one of the inyanim with the kohanim, that they have to instruct and give a hiras what is kosher, what is possible, what is tamim, what is toher. Therefore, if you shesuye yayin, you get mavubu, you can't paskin, you can't indicate the inyanim alayah amitosa. And there was a whole Indian that a Rav, when he paskins, Shilas, he's not allowed to be Shesuya Yayin, you're not allowed to be Ongeshikit or mit wine or mit andere Inyanim, because then there's a chashash that he won't be able to paskin the Indian Hilchotzai. And they bring about certain great Rabbanim in Europe in generations back, that even on Purim, they didn't try to be Mekayim, the minif and Adolo Yoda, Chayavodim the Besumi Bapudia, until they knew that everybody in the town, as much as they could judge, had already finished the Sudas Purim, or were already on their way to get whatever was the remainder of a night's sleep. Only then would they dare to take Ayinim from Mashke or Yayin to be Mekayim that Indian, because a Rav always has to be ready, and Shem and Mishu will come with a Shaila. And maybe somebody's going to come in and ask him a Shaila in Halacha, and you're not allowed to paskin Halacha, or decide any Indian going to get Torah if you're a Shesuya Yayin. And the fact they wouldn't drink even a Purim until after they were able to work out to feed the Tanoim of the city, that probably most people would go to sleep in the Efsharis, that somebody would come to ask them a Shaila was Kimat Efes. So Rashi says that Rabbi Shmuel brings you a raya from that. Immediately after the whole thing, we see that the Eibishter who gave this warning to the Kohanim, that's a sign that must have been the basis of the whole problem. That must have been what brought to the whole Inyan. And then he doesn't see that as being enough, Rashi, but he says, Moshel Lamelech Shehoy loy ben bayis v'chulu, etc. K'deisa v'vayikra Rabbo, as it's brought down in the Medrash, which is called Vayikra, the Medrash Rabbo. So that's one of these few, but very tantalizing places where Rashi quotes you a Medrash, but he just seems to assume that you seem to know what the Medrash is, or if you don't, then you'll take the tircha to look it up. He doesn't see it necessary to quote you what actually is written in the Medrash. So L'choy, you would say, Zim can't don't bother bringing it like that. What about all the hundreds and thousands of Yidden that are not going to have a Medrash Rabbah? And what about all the hundreds and thousands of Yidden that they probably don't know anyway? They probably anyway don't know what's written in the Medrash Rabbah in that particular detail. Is remember, why does Rashi quote the Medrash? Allah upon him midah, and he says, like it's written in the Medrash, Rabba Vayikra Rabba, and he just begins. He said, "Amashal Amelech Shehoy Eloi Ben Bayis." Not a Ben Bayis, but not a Ben, but a Ben Bayis. He had a Ben Bayis. But a Ben Bayis means something that used to, how do you call it, a common visitor in his house, and he considered him like one of the family, etc., etc. So also to Shaila, what's written in that Medrash, and what does that add to me? So if you take the tircha to open up the Medrash Rabbah and L'Daf Def Shama, you have to turn over a lot of pages till you find it. Because there are a lot of things in Parsha Shmini, not just on the Pesukim like in other parts of the Medrash Rabbah. There's a lot of different inyonim are brought in over there. All sorts of wondrous things occur in the Medrash Rabbah Parsha Shmini. So you've got to go quite deep into the Medrash. You've got to look carefully, and you find one little section there, this Moshe brought down by Rashi. And he brings over there a Moshe for Amel Shehoy Ben Bayis, and he found this Ben Bayis, walked out of the street, and he came close to Omad al Pesach Chanuyos. He stood literally on the doorway of the shops. That's what it means in Pashtas. But if you look at the Meforshei HaMedrash, it seems to imply not just stamp shops, but how they call it, booze shops. The shops where they sell, how you call it, a person can go in and on drinking time. How you call it, pubs, I suppose. So it's written at the Melech, Tziva v'hiti Yisrael. The Melech gave a commandment, and they slit his head off. They sliced the guy's head off. They stayed up. And then it's written that the Melech had another Ben Bayis, another person that was very close to him, and he also Yotov Ishkariv ala Chanuyos. So the Avdei Melech, or the Melech himself, said, "Listen, man, don't do that. Don't go near those places, because look at what happened to the previous Ben Bayis, that he got closer, and the Melech hitis us. There's ratio, so you don't go too close. Don't get involved. Stay away." So when he heard that, the Ben Bayis said, "I kept foul." So he backed away, and he kept away the foot. And this is the muscle what the Medrash brings. So therefore, in B'Shem Rabbi Yishmael, is that Rabbi Yishmael is saying that you see what happened to that guy's Mamela, and that's the purpose of the Pasuk coming along after the whole thing happened, saying don't do what these two fellows did. They were Shatuya Yayin, or you guys don't drink wine when you go into the meat. And then comes along Rashi and he says, "Who Asher Diber?" Moshe Rabbeinu said to Aaron, "Oh, you see, that's what was said to me. I knew that this sort of thing was going to happen." So Rashi says, "V'heichen Diber?" Where did the angel say to Moshe Rabbeinu that a thing like that was going to happen? It's written over there in Pasha Tetzaveh, in the end of Shmois. V'heichen Diber? But the angel said to Moshe, "V'noyadati Shama B'nei Yisrael." I'm going to always appear and be known to the Yidden in my sanctuary. V'nigdosh b'chvodi, and I will be sanctified in my glory or my honor. So Rashi brings over there. The fascinating thing is that Rashi brings that over there in Parshat Tetzaveh. But it's written, "Al tikra b'chvodi." Don't read that it was written in my honor. Ela b'mechubodai, in my honored ones. I'm going to be sanctified by my honored ones. And then he goes on to say to him, Aaron, my dear brother, you should realize that I already knew that this place was going to be sanctified by somebody who is one-on and close, amuchubad to the Eibster. And if not something that the Eibster really holds to be honored, miyuduav shel mokim, as they Rashi told them. And he said, I thought it was going to be either me or you. I thought probably, if somebody's going to have to be what you might call the way and the medium of sanctifying the Mishkan, and going to have to sacrifice himself in that regard, then it'll be either me or you. I mean, we're the two, as it were, central figures. We're the two big central